Yo, yo, Tony D back at it. Have Absolute Batman 13. Haven't done a mega review in a while. Been hitting those mega micro reviews. Hopefully y'all are getting something out of it, enjoying it. But man, we going all in on 13. It's mega time. So, Absolute Batman 13. This is marking a turning point in Scott Snyder's really ambitious re-imaging of the Dark Knight. You know, as the fifth chapter of the Abomination arc, the issue plunges Bruce Wayne into it's a moral and psychological crucible that's really forcing him to confront not just Bane, but the darkest parts of himself. And we've seen a lot of that in the previous issues. And the hype with Catwoman, let's see if it holds up. You know what I mean? I think there was a lot. When I saw this cover, I was like, oh yeah, here we go. So let's get into this. So you have Bruce Wayne, you know, these are flashbacks. And there's a lot of those in here, especially with him training Killer Croc, Wayland, before he becomes Killer Croc. And the flashbacks really are important. You really see where Bruce Wayne is currently in present day, where he is isolated. I mean, there's a lot of emotional weight that you see on Batman through everything he's been through up to this point. And when you flash back to this stuff, it's lighter. It's more, I say human, because he is becoming kind of a monster in a way, and he's changing. So the flashbacks are really important. And it's important to see where he's been and where he's going. It's really a journey. And this is like, I love the cinematic feel when they do like that. DC's actually been doing a great job with all their books like this. But so yeah, here you go, a perfect shot. This is what I'm talking about. Like, he's becoming, as time moves on, more scarred. If you read the Ark-M chapters, where they just put him through the ringer. A lot of defeat, a lot of moral just negativity, down and out. So here you have it, my friends. Catwoman has arrived. And I will say this, the tension between Batman and Selina, man, it's palpable, man. Her dominance contrast with his unraveling control, which we've seen in previous issues. And you also see here just Alfred's urgency and just being vulnerable, like, to this character. It really adds to the tension of the whole meaning of this trio. He's trying to be dominant, but she really, you can tell she's holding the cards, so to speak. And she ain't playing with Alfred. So Alfred knows her from previous engagements, which will be interesting. So one thing I was confused about is was this a flashback? Or did they go straight to that? I believe they did. So they go straight from, it was so abrupt. I thought it was a flashback, but no, man, they get rid of homeboy and they do what they do. So they love each other, man. It's intense. There's a lot of emotion here, and that could be bad for both of them, actually. You know, it really establishes the emotional stakes here. You know, it isn't that romantic memory, man. It really shows a contrast, you know, to Bruce's current isolation, you know, and that's where he's been. And he does mention that her helmet looks like some of that tech that Black Mask was using. So as this issue goes on, we get introduced a little bit to her her makeup. So it's a slow introduction to Catwoman. Oh, totally cool. I wouldn't call that a potty mouth panel, but it's cool. You know what I mean? Dragotta, man, he's awesome. Yeah, he's got to be drawing this. Hold on, man. I got to get correct. Yeah. Scott Snyder's just nailing it with this. And they talk about the Red Hood gang, which I think is interesting in this universe. And he's wanting to speak to the leader. He needs some information. And you're fixing to see a reveal I didn't see coming. They did a good job of keeping this quiet. So spoilers, son. Spoilers. Totally love how he uses his cape. That's very fresh and unique, man. The cape as a weapon, I'll give it up to Snyder. That's stinking awesome, man. I wonder how much Dragotta had to do with this creation of the weaponry, because it really is cool. So these two, man, they work together like smooth, like peanut butter and jelly. This was really interesting, where her whip is like bullets or so Batman, I wouldn't say he has a no-kill clause like our main Batman, but definitely don't want kids involved in that. And they're like darts. So you get, see what I mean? You're getting a little more introduction to her and like what she has as far as weapons. I bet it gets real secret agently, you know what I mean? But man, back to this, he kicks in the venom. So this will be interesting to see how this venom works. Like, is it currently in his system? It's got to be in his system. How do you have to resupply? Is it made naturally with his modifications? A lot of stuff, man, I got to find answers to. And your boy will do it. So it's important that he uses it here so he can define to us what it's all about. It's more than just strength. He says that it like puts him ahead. Like he can see, it's like making his brain quicker, if that makes sense. Like he can see ahead. He's 50 steps ahead of whoever he's fighting. So the venom obviously gave Bane an advantage, but I think even without the venom, he would have took Batman. That Bane is pretty brutal. Everyone can tell, man, when he uses it. So we're getting a setup here that this venom, it's not something casually messed with. And here's your reveal. Like he mentions Ark-M, and everyone knows, man. And the reveal here is Harley Quinn, the absolute Harley. For me, this was enough where I went ahead and I bought another another issue with cover A. I think that's a very important character reveal. This is probably more important than Selina, really. We'll see what they do and what her relationship is with the Joker. It'd be interesting. So we switch back to our guy, Bane, who he's really talking like Batman. They're pushing him to the limit. So this is setting up that future narration where the fight is going to be a fully amped up Bane where there's no excuses. It's the A-team everything's rocking and rolling, healthy, and they're pushing him to the max. And he talks about how Absolute Batman is his replacement and that he can go home. So Bane has an agenda. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. If Batman can beat him, like, man, I'm not convinced. And you see more of the emotional stakes as this continues on. Where Batman just, he steps out of the shadows right here. And he's really becoming a public symbol of rebellion. So that's how big Ark-M is and the influence they have. He's really becoming like he's very blunt about what he's saying about Bane. Like, he lays out the time, the place, let's do it. And for Batman to go public like that kind of shows you some of the unraveling that he's going through. And there's your call out, you know, I'm Batman. Everybody knows, right? But it's kind of cool they throw that in there. I like nods to the whole, just everything, to the main universe, to the movie. You know, a little nod like that's cool. Yeah. So you have another flashback, which grounds you after a moment like that public. Like, that's a big deal with him going, you know, just pretty much announcing his manifesto, you know, and stepping out of the shadow and just being that symbol of rebellion. And then you have a very rooted, grounded moment with his friend, and it doesn't go good. Like, this whole boxing, it's like a boxing, he's training Waylon to fight someone he knows that Waylon can't beat. And it really sets up a parallel with what's going on. So it matters, you know what I mean? Like, the whole, you're up against someone you just can't beat, but Batman is going through that right now. I thought that's a beautiful contrast there to where he's been on the other side of it. You know, Waylon, you know, is going through it, but he's on the side of somebody on the sideline, like, you're not going to be able to do it. But you see Waylon as a character, even, you know, a little thing like that gives you more knowledge and feeling of that character, which is pretty important. So they're kind of battle planning right here. And they're talking about the venom. And Catwoman is like, and this made me kind of think, does she know more? Like, I think she's a little more connected to Ark-M than what we know. So there's a big mystery there. And she's telling him not to use the venom. That's a big thing right here. Because to beat Bane, he has to use it. We saw, if you read the previous issues, Bane kicks his ass easy. And she's like, they want you to use it, and like is pleading with him not to use it. Yeah, he talks about what happens when he uses it. He could see every move the kids were making, the Red Hood gang, and he was 10 steps ahead. No, 50 steps ahead. He's got, this is what drug addicts do. He's talking about he has to learn how to control it. And everybody knows, man, you cannot control stuff like that. Yeah, and like no one was there to witness the beatdown he got. So he knows he's got to use it. So she wants to take Bane down as well. So I think there's more there than what we just don't know yet. It'll get revealed. So he even talks about, you get a little hint about, it's not fair to cheat, the whole steroid thing. It's there, but he calls her out, you're using advanced equipment. They get into that just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, he's convinced he's using the venom. And it's almost like a goodbye. Like it doesn't feel like a goodbye that, Bane's going to kill you or destroy you. It's like a goodbye because he's going to cross a line. That's really the way I felt reading that, was like he's going to become something else with his decisions and what he's going to use. So we see our hero going to do what he's got to do. So Alfred has actually given him some. Alfred does have some grounding ability as well. It's cool to see Alfred in this capacity as a secret agent. Like he's very capable. And he talks about seeing Bruce like pushing through the tunnel, and it's like that tunnel is really, it's really the culmination of decisions meeting at one point where all of this is going to lead us. Now, with that being said, the Joker is really at the end of that tunnel where these decisions and culminations are going to be right at his feet. Now, is he cleverly orchestrating all this? So you have a lot on your plate to think about. And here you see Waylon there. Talks about, let go of what you were, that man, soft, weak, bury him in the mud and become what you need to be, what you were meant to be, and rise. That's pretty powerful writing, man. Snyder nails it, and he goes, as the monster, and then you see our guy Waylon. And this is war. There are no rules except winning. So, I've got a couple of character introductions. I'm going to hit this with the E-Gerb. So, Absolute Batman 13, it really is a masterclass in the character deconstruction of Absolute Batman. And this is where this offering in the Absolute Universe has been a shining beacon. Just the deconstruction and the building back up of this character. It's been done extremely well with Batman. Snyder, he doesn't just pit Batman against Bane. He pits Bruce Wayne against his own legacy. With Selina Kyle and Harley Quinn entering the Absolute Universe, which is cool. Bruce is really teetering on the edge of just moral collapse. And you can really see the definition of that as you read his conversations with Selina. And this issue right here, it sets the stage for a finale that could redefine the myth of Batman. So you got to get on that. Outro.